Good evening, everyone. This is Pradeep Mal, Ambassador of Change from GETI, the Global Education and Training Institute of Lucknow. We are the premier institute for training teachers and principals in India and several parts of the world. And we have many in-service and pre-service programs. For more information, please go to 7408401000. Right now, you're on a disruptive education platform provided to us by our mentor, Dr. Sunita Gandhi. And on this platform, we have met with and interacted with more than 1,600 educators from India and all over the world. And this evening, we have for you Ms. Kalyani Pantangi, I'm sorry, ma'am, Pantangi. She is the co-founder and director of Intelliace Solutions Private Limited from Bengaluru in Karnataka. Welcome, ma'am. She has more than 21 years of experience, including 18 years in HR management. She has done a BE in chemical engineering from the BM College of Engineering, and then she did an MBA in HR in '06 to '08, then did a post-graduation diploma in management from AIMA, and she speaks several languages: Tamil, Kannada, English, Malayalam, Hindi, and Telugu. And her top skills are sustainable development, change management, and project management. And she has a Six Sigma Yellow Belt, professional certificate in management, a Six Sigma Green Belt from the CSSGB, advanced certificate in management and certificate in management. She has got honors awards from Sterling Contribution in Human Resource Management, Consistent Performer, Women Achiever Award, and so on. And she'll be speaking to us this evening on My Contribution Matters for Climate Action for Climate Crises. Thank you, ma'am, for being with us, and over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this very warm welcome, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk with all the people possible about the biggest issue that we are all facing in the current day. I'm really humbled by the way you have introduced me. Thank you so much, sir. So, talking about climate action and climate crisis, let's pause here for a second and understand what are we talking really about. What is this climate crisis? Why do we need to take action towards climate crisis? What is happening? Any thoughts? Anything coming to mind? Well, I will take you all through in detail about this, and then as we are going, I'll give you instances and examples. Yeah. So what happened? What has been happening is because of the changes that we are bringing in our day-to-day lives, the climate is changing drastically. Because this climate is changing drastically, the global temperature has increased. And because this global temperature has increased, we are facing again drastic and exponential effects. Some of these are we are having extreme weather conditions, like India currently is facing extreme heat waves. If you are from I can say if you're from northern India, you must be facing temperature as high as 45 to literally nearly up to 50 degrees temperature. If you're from, again, southern India, different other states in southern India, it's already crossed 45 or 47 in most of the places. On an average, throughout India, the temperature is 40 plus. We've had rains, but the temperature is really crazy. Why is this? Why is this temperature increases so much? It's because of the climate crisis. This global temperature that is increasing is making our planet more warm. While we're talking about summer, winters are also extreme. Rains We need not have to say, as soon as even there is a small amount of rain, roads get clogged, cities are flooded, and we are facing drastic issues. And as a result of this climate change problem, there are a whole lot of species of animals which are becoming extinct because they cannot bear beyond a particular temperature and survive over there. So, what exactly is this basic problem that climate change that is causing? If you see on the first image to the left, you will see that the ice in Arctic Circle is melting. The yellow line on the map that shows to that extent the ice should have been there. But because of this global warming that's happening, the ice in that particular area is melting drastically. As a result of this, the sea level is increasing. The creatures that are living in the Arctic area, they are finding it very difficult. They are finding it very difficult to survive. We are fearing that the creatures will become extinct very soon. It's just the Arctic area, but there is a lot of changes even in the Antarctic area. Recent reports show that penguins are getting extinct. Penguins are freezing to death because of the winters, extreme winters. Now, all of us learned in our science that at the poles, the temperature should be maintained. If there is an increase in temperature, the magnetism will change. And as a result, there is a lot of changes in the earth. As such, we have been observing earthquakes have increased, volcanoes have increased, extreme weather conditions have come into picture, and there are so many other drastic changes happening on this earth. So moving on, if these kind of problems exist, basic things that were going on is coral bleaches, species losses. There is drought in most of the places in the world. And there is a drastic rise in the sea level. And not to mention, this drastic rise in sea level will cause a threat to all those nations which has a coastal line. Especially countries like India, we will definitely struggle with the way things are going. I was recently watching a documentary where they just were saying another half a degree rise in temperature. Countries like India, which has got longest coastlines, literally all those states will get washed off. There is a risk of that. And that actually brought jitters to me. And I'm like, what is going to happen to so many other islands in that case? Beautiful islands, they will all become extinct. All those will get completely drowned in water. What about the species that's becoming extinct because of the extreme temperature? We too are struggling. Having said that, what are the causes? We all studied about this in our school. Way back in fifth standard or sixth standard itself, we went ahead and studied about this. Greenhouse gases are increasing, that is carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, and nitrous oxide. When these oxides become more, the sunlight that enters into the earth atmosphere, it touches the earth surface at a particular wavelength, and it radiates the same amount of heat, and as a result the earth becomes warmer. This is what is global warming. The heat is coming in, it's not able to go out, it's getting trapped within the atmosphere. And what is causing this trapping of heat? The radiation of heat from the earth, which is getting trapped in the atmosphere. What is it that is causing? One, burning of fossil fuels, heating. We are all generating electricity through different other mechanisms, not going green. Burning of fuels, fossil fuels, especially coal, petroleum, diesel. These are the biggest costs. And as a result of this, we are literally going ahead, and we think as humans we are achieving something by cutting down forests, building big buildings, creating big office campuses, doing whatnot, but actually we are not making this earth friendly for ourselves and even for the other animals. Because of the reduction of forests, there is so much of reduction in biodiversity. Deforestation is another reason, biggest reason for climate change. We all learned in our school way back in second or third standard, if the forests are rich, we get a lot of clouds and we get plenty of rainfall, which is healthy. We all learned if there are trees, summers will not be severe, winters will be pleasant, rainfall will be adequate. But are we having it that way today? Who is responsible for this? That's not pointing finger time now. We are responsible. We all did it collectively. Why blame one another? We did it. We made this earth a horrible place, not only for us, but for all the other animals. Just pause for a moment over here, and I want to ask you all this question. Is this earth only for us, humans? The Latin name for us is called as Homo sapiens. Is this only for Homo sapiens? What about all the other creatures that are there on this earth? What about all the other creatures that are there in the seas? The birds that are flying? Is this earth only ours? But we have gone ahead and taken control of our earth like it belongs only to us and made it claustrophobic, not just for us, but for all the other creatures, all the other animals. Are we right? Don't you think it's time for us to become human enough to take action and do something right to save our planet? Think about it. Now, what is happening because of this climate action that is happening, climate changes that's happening? Majorly affected countries are not the developed countries. They somehow can manage. Developing countries are struggling, and the poor countries are not able to come out of it. We know what recently happened for Sri Lanka. Pandemic affected so horribly that Sri Lanka is one country that was depending completely on tourism. Because tourism was affected, they literally struggling today. What about so many other countries in the world that are struggling like that? Now, not just the countries are getting affected because of the climate changes, they are suffering and the droughts are increasing. The situations are going so out of control, like what we faced during the pandemic. Fortunately, by God's grace, we had the vaccination. We are all vaccinated. We are somehow safe. Many of us still wear the mask when we go out. We follow all the rules because the virus is still there. The pandemic is still prevalent. So we better be careful. But what about the countries that have gone through such drastic churn? Many of them are losing it. Companies, organizations have been shut down because they couldn't run businesses. And bottom line for all this is climate change. Bottom line for most of the problems is climate change. Somewhere way back, not today, maybe about 3 4 years back, while I was still adopting to the sustainability in my life, and I was going through the deep study, I came across an article which says because of this ice melting, the whole lot of viruses that were trapped in that ice, they are coming back to life. They are assassinated, and because of that, there are various diseases. Now, even that can affect on countries, not just people, countries itself. It affects not just the people, it affects the economy, it affects the growth of the country. There are so many cascading effects that happen. So finally, net, what UN has come up and said is it's just not the work of organizations or countries alone. It's just not UN's responsibility. It's not just a country government's responsibility or state's responsibility. It's each and every individual's responsibility. So they went ahead and made a statement that countries who have contributed the least to climate crisis are the ones who are affected the most. They went and made this fair statement, but it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. How do we fix it? Each of us, we know the science behind this entire issue. We know what is happening. But if we are not smart enough to take corrective steps, I'm sure we will not save this planet for our future generation. We will be the last generation to stay on this planet. I don't want to be that way. I want my future generations to enjoy the planet. According to me, I borrowed this planet from my future generation. I need to return it back to them. So, what is it that I can do as an individual? I will support my government in all the policies and procedures they are setting. I will work with businesses to bring in that process changes so that we will run the business in a sustainable way. I will make my life so sustainable that even one action of mine should cause a cascading or a ripple effect in a positive way. And I should become the ambassador to bring that changes. My voice matters. That's why I'm here talking to each one of you today. My voice matters. And I'm literally crying here because my planet, the only place where I can live, is burning. I really want my planet to survive. I want everybody on this planet to survive. So, if I can do the tiny, weeny changes, if I can bring in those steps, I can change my lifestyle, I can do something to save my planet, I will definitely do. One major step that we can do is by reducing our carbon footprint. I will in detail explain how we can reduce our carbon footprint. But there is an interesting thing that is going on worldwide right now. Reducing carbon footprint, not just, it's just not impossible, but it is highly effective, highly beneficial, and it will save our pocket too. How? We will learn that. And another interesting factor is our government, we Indians, our Indian government thoroughly supports this. And I take immense pride in saying that we Indians are sustainable not from today, we are sustainable from centuries. Our grandparents, what they have followed, our great grandparents, what they have followed, if we get back to our roots and the techniques what they were used and go back to our basics, I think we have already achieved not just net zero footprint, carbon footprint, but even we've become sustainable and we have towards the journey of saving our planet. How many of you agree with me for this? As a result of what we are doing, the world is learning a lot from us. There are a whole lot of people who never knew so many things could be done. And when I was working on this project, I realized we know something. The time has come for us to share the knowledge, what we have learned, which we have followed for centuries. How? What we can do? What exactly happens when we do that? When we are transitioning our lifestyle, our living, our work, our businesses, every to low carbon economies, we are not only going ahead and creating innovative methods and methodologies, we are also bringing new opportunities and unimaginable opportunities. This was in one of the forums that we were talking. There was somebody who reached out to me and said, see, I live in a state like Assam. The humidity is very high, and at this point in time, the temperature is high, and we are literally struggling to live here. We need ACs. ACs, again, certain kind of ones are again really, really harmful for our atmosphere. How can I avoid using AC? How many of you can even relate to what our grandparents used to do? Or no, there was something that was there that they followed even in those days to avoid heat. This is something that I learned in my childhood days. My grandfather was a doctor in the border of Andhra and Odisha, and we were living in that village over there. We used to at least visit during our summer holidays. So, extreme summers, my grandmom used to adopt this to keep the room temperature at least as less as possible. She would light lamps out of castor oil. I did not understand then, but eventually, as I was studying my chemical engineering and I had a subject called as thermodynamics, that's when I learned about the latent heat. I'm sure many of you students who are watching me or people who have heard about it will relate to it. Another best example I can give is our water in matka. Why is it the water in mud pot or a matka or a terracotta pot cooler compared to a water in a stainless steel glass? What happens over there? The water that is there in the pot, even that needs to evaporate. That tends to evaporate. Evaporation need not happen at the temperature of 100 degrees. Evaporation can happen at any temperature. So if that water has to evaporate at whatever temperature, there is a heat that is required for that water to evaporate. That heat is called as latent heat. That latent heat is taken out from the water itself for evaporation, and as a result the water cools down. Am I making sense? The same technique is adopted even when you light the lamp with castor oil. There are so many other age old techniques like that our ancestors thoroughly followed, which we have forgotten and moved into globalization and adopted things, which has actually caused us to this downtrodden effects. The time has come for us to go back, learn all that, and educate to the other part of the world. The time has come where we will adopt this sustainable living, reduce our carbon footprint, and develop new ideas, new products, new technologies, new businesses. This is actually creating more job opportunities, more opportunities. In fact, with the way our country is progressing, school kids are involved in creating and inventing new stuff. They are thoroughly involved in working on hydrogen oriented engines. Using hydrogen as the fuel, how the engines can work. Our school kids are involved. It's just a handful of people who are working on such kind of stuff. If all of us try to put in our efforts, just imagine how we can take our country to a next level. We will not just be supporting ourselves, our future generation, but we will be supporting even our government in all the activities they are doing. When they are leaving no stone unturned to support us, to help us, to see that we are provided, to see that we don't suffer, I think it takes us also to take at least few steps forward to support our government. What do you say? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? What do we do? All of us know India is a part of UN. We work closely with UN. We support all the principles, and whatever UN says, we go by that. Why? Because we are a peace loving country. Out of the many countries in the world which has never waged war, India, we can take that immense pride. India is one country which has never waged war against any country. We have not gone and declared war against anybody because we are a peace loving country. History is evident that we are the country we stood as peacemakers between biggest to biggest countries who were going through rifts. There were cases where we have gone in for discussions and brought in peace and avoided wars. such a peace loving country, and we as a nation, when we are supporting the sustainable development goals, I think individuals need to learn more about it, educate ourselves more about it, and understand more about it and participate in all the activities. A little bit of history about the sustainable development goals. Way back in 2000, UN went ahead and formulated these goals and came up and said that if we are able to achieve these goals by 2030, we are making world a better place to live. It's just not one country's job, it's all the country's job. How many of us in India are even aware there is something like this? School kids, college kids, people who are working in companies, factories, biggest to biggest organization, entrepreneurs. How many of us know about the sustainable development goal? The time has come for us to rise up, start educating ourselves, start educating the people around us, learn with examples, follow the current affairs around this area, identify our interests, relate our interests with these goals, align them, and start working towards it. I know all of us want to be entertained in our life, watch movies, go watch sports, enjoy that bit, but that is not the end. We are responsible to do something better for our planet. Don't you think so? We are living in this planet. We need to do something better. If not anything, let's adopt these goals and start working towards it. The biggest issue that research has proved is we have not been able to achieve even a single goal. Why? Can anybody even think about it? Comprehend that? One, the biggest issue why we haven't achieved this is because there is no gender equality. We are fighting amongst ourselves. When will we leave fighting amongst ourselves and collaborate and fight the issues that we have? The time has come for collaboration. We still talk about women's rights, powers, when our government has given all the rights, all the powers, everything equally for men and women in our country. I take immense pride in saying that the biggest to biggest developed countries did not have what we had. We had women presidents, we had women prime ministers, we had queens ruling our country. There are so many other developed countries who have just stepped into the phase where women are coming up today in the field of politics. Women are coming in the field of leadership today. And they are biggest to biggest developed countries. I don't want to name them, all of us know about it. But in India, we've already had the freedom, not today, from the time, even before our freedom, we had this. Even before our independence, we had this. Are we utilizing it properly? Are we creating equal opportunities at workplace? Are we creating equal opportunities at schools, colleges? Why is girl education still lagging behind? Don't you think so? All these are some of the issues that are stopping us to achieve not just these goals, but even saving our planet. Think about this. This is a very interesting topic. And everywhere I speak, I leave this topic as a point to ponder. Our mothers are the people who teach us how to keep ourselves clean, how to keep our thoughts clean, how to keep our rooms, our houses clean. Just imagine if these mothers are involved in climate action related activities. Don't you think the world will become a better place? Think about it. How we can do what I said so far, whatever we spoke so far, we need to speak up about it. We need to stand up and talk to people. I know we will have 100 people who will resent and who will say no. Don't mind, I'm calling them all as educated fools. I have a whole lot of people around me. Recently, I was talking to a whole gang of people, and I'm saying fossil fuel will be there, but we cannot use vehicles related to fossil fuel. There was a huge argument saying that no, fossil fuel cannot become extinct. We will have fossil fuel, we will buy fossil fuel. If the mentality is like that with people, then how can government even stop fossil fuel? How can we stop the biggest issue of burning this fuel that is causing the global warming? That mentality needs to change. One person cannot talk about it and change the mentality. All of us need to talk about it, create that atmosphere, and say no for it. Simple example, way back, even if you look at it 10 years or 15 years back, Chola Chowki was very important. If there is a big marriage or anything like that, Chola only used to be used. Nobody used gas cylinders. They used to bring those big chopped wood or coal and burn, use big vessels to cook. But how did we change? It didn't happen overnight, but slowly, slowly we did adopt the change, and today we have almost replaced it in most of the places. Do you agree with me or not? At least in bigger cities and bigger towns, we don't use that anymore. We go for gas, LPG gas. I'm not saying that is user friendly, that is eco friendly, but it is still better than the emissions that come because of burning wood. We are not chopping a wood, we are not chopping a tree, we are not causing deforestation at the same time burning gases. Think about it. Same way, now the time has come for us to talk more about reducing the use of fossil fuel and increase the use of eco-friendly way of living. We need to start acting. We need to become ambassadors. We need to become the change makers. We are the change agents today. We don't have to wait for somebody to do it. We don't require a celebrity to come and tell us. Start using water bottles, stainless steel water bottles or copper water bottles. Say no to plastic. We don't require a celebrity to say. We can become that ambassadors. We can become that celebrity spreading that word. Do you agree with me or not? What is it that celebrities have that we don't have? Think about it. Let me know. The first step towards adopting and bringing in change at an individual level is say no to single use plastic. Single use plastic, we get those thelas, those plastic bags when we go for shopping. Say no to them. Start carrying your own bags. This was something that I have seen when I was small. I've seen my grandparents and my parents also do. We would go for vegetable market, we would carry our own bag. We would go for fruit market, we would carry our own bag. Buy flowers, carry our own bag. In fact, even buy groceries, we carried our own bags because plastic was very expensive that time. They used to wrap all the contents, our food contents, in paper, newspaper, and give. I'm not saying using newspaper is good, but it is still better than using plastic. In the village where my grandpa was there, we never used to find straws to drink even tender coconut. We would carry a glass or a vessel, pour the water in that, and then drink because we never had straws. Today, we have the option of using reusable straws. We have stainless steel straws, we have straws made out of bamboo, and other very healthy products available. Earlier, when we were small, when we used to travel, we never had use and throw glasses or cutlery. We used to carry our own stainless steel cutlery and glasses. I think we can get back to that even to this day. And who told us that using paper glasses is healthy? Using paper glasses is eco friendly. Do you know how many trees are chopped because of one glass? We see only one glass. How much is wasted in making that one glass? The power, the technology, the labor, and on top of it, that itself is a waste. So it's high time we start adopting all these tips, carry our own bags, move to sustainable water containers, use water bottles. There are countries who sell water because they don't get water, they sell water crates. Instead of buying crates and having so many bottles, buy 1 gallon of water. Use that. Learn to reuse stuff. There is no need of you carrying a paper glass or a paper tumbler wherever you go for coffee and tea. Carry your own flask. Carry your lunch boxes. Some of us are living in atmospheres or places where we cannot cook, where nothing is cooked. We have to rely on the hotel food. So we order on Swiggy. Avoid. Carry your tiffin boxes and get it packed in that and bring it home. There are so many sustainable ways that we can adopt. Go back to our basic. That itself is the biggest sustainable way of living. Say no to plastic in any and every area possible. Another biggest thing is we all forgot cycling. We all forgot how far we can walk. We all forgot there is an existence of public transport. I think we have to adopt that. Wherever possible, use public transport. If your company is providing transport, use that. If you have a school bus, use that. Don't go for private autos or private transports. It's a luxury, but your luxury is causing harm to the atmosphere. Realize that. The fun you get going together with your friends, you will never get that as you grow. I miss my school days. I used to walk 2 kilometers or cycle 2.5 kilometers to my school, but still that used to be fun, so much fun. I miss those friends. I have my cycle, but I miss those friends with whom I used to cycle. Public transport. To the distance where you can go cycling, go by that, go by your bike. But to the distance where you cannot, use public transport. Another biggest advantage we have in India is we have electric two-wheelers. Move to that. Become eco-friendly. And the biggest thing that we need to get back is get out of that use and throw mentality and move back to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Earlier, we had those watch shops which used to repair our watches. Today, those watch shops have become extinct. The moment I take an old watch, they say, ma'am, throw this and buy a new one. That becomes a waste. Who is reusing the products in that? It's an electronic waste. Don't buy stuff unnecessarily. Learn to reuse it. And recycle products. Wherever you can recycle. You have clothes that you don't fit into them anymore, or you feel that it's become old for you. Share it with people where it will be new for them. Donate it. Don't throw it away. Save water. Another biggest issue our planet is facing is water crisis. The countries who can afford, they are going ahead and distilling the water and they are selling it at subsidized price. What about countries like India? Can we sell that way? How many villages do not even have water supply over there? They are struggling even to this day. Because it's not because government cannot give, it's because it's next to impossible for those places. But still they are trying to provide in some means or the other. Harvest the rainwater that we are getting. We are having sufficient rains by God's grace. Harvest the rainwater. Adopt sustainable food habits. One of the biggest thing that I have seen is wasting food. Food is not tasty, throw it. You don't feel like eating, throw it. We were taught in our childhood days, first taste little bit, only if you like it, you eat. We've never wasted food. We feel it's a sin if we waste food. We're taught that way. We are brought up that way. That's an Indian culture. How many of us are still cascading that to our kids? I know globalization has come. We have pizzas, we have pastas, we have all kinds of continental dishes available. But we forgot the basic that we are wasting food. Teach kids not to waste food. First, let's not waste food. Let's go back to our basics and learn to recycle food. Yesterday's leftover can be reused in some way. Go ahead and do that. This is something very richly imbibed in us. Share it with the other people in the world. Don't buy products from jazzy places just because you want to show off. Go for the local markets and buy. You see how tasty that food items will be, how healthy they would be. At the same time, you're building life for somebody else. I'm not saying you're not building life in those big malls and other places, but local market, what is available, the best, I can say that. And in doing all this, going back to our basis, we are regaining our health. There was a very interesting article that came very recently that one doctor himself said, because we gave up on walking and cycling for even to the next two streets or two blocks away, we all are having all kinds of issues like blood pressure, diabetes, heart issues, that is cardiac issues, renal issues, which has become very common. Let's go back to our basics, start walking, start cycling. Even for the smallest thing, if we have to go to our local market and bring even something for daily use, start adopting that, we will see that our health is coming back. I felt that is really right. If we start saying no to vehicles with fossil fuel and start adopting to sustainable habits, we are regaining our health. And there's humongous information available on the internet. Nobody needs to teach us how to use the internet now. I think we are all veterans today in that place. Why not use that particular information for our benefit and save our planet? Adopt zero waste. These are some of the pictorial way of my showing that you can become totally sustainable. Save energy. Shop and go vocal for local. Go vocal for local, even for a smallest thing. Grow plants in your house. Even if you are staying in a small apartment, have some indoor plants. You have a balcony, have vertical garden. So many things have come into picture which wasn't there earlier. Why don't we adopt to all that? And nothing is a waste. Our food items, the paper, everything that is there, we can reuse that. Create compost for our plants and reuse it. Bring in a lifestyle where you're avoiding chemicals in your life. Become more sustainable. Again, I'm saying go back to basics. If we are living this, we will cascade it to our next generation. And one thing most of us still need to adopt is waste management. I have seen in many places where all kachra is mixed and thrown into the kachra dabba, or even those vans that come to pick up. Why aren't we very strictly, stringently following waste management? Only if we insist will the people adhere to it. Need is a mother for all innovation. Do you agree with me or not? If need is a mother, why don't we create that need for proper waste disposal? It's our planet. Will we put kachra in our house the way we do it outside? Why don't we treat our planet as our home? Because we have no other place to go and live. Am I making sense? In all what we do, let's love our earth. Because this is the only place we have to survive. Whatever we learned, let's go about adopting that in our life. save water, save our planet, learn to reuse, recycle, and reduce waste. At the end of the day, make this our better place to live, and let's give this earth in a better condition for our kids. In case you have any questions, in case you have any kind of feedback or anything that you want to share, please feel free to reach out to me. It's our planet, our climate, and our action. Let's together work towards it and save our planet. Thank you.
Thank you for the talk, ma'am, on why contribution matters for climate action and climate crisis. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, this is something that we have been teaching and learning for years and years and years now. Even in school, environmental studies was a topic not only in class 10 but also in class 12. And somehow the message is not getting through. Now, not totally getting through. Some of us, of course, do observe these things, but mostly they don't. Now, do you think this is lack of sophistication and basically because of lack of education?
It's not the education, sir. Education is available. Humongous information is available. It's lack of initiation and responsibility. If
Ma'am,
each
what
person
about
think it's my duty and work towards it, I think we will take that action needed.
the quality of education?
Quality of education, definitely there is so much of scope of improvement for it. I think we still are lagging in many areas. If you, for example, if you see what is needed in the current industry and what is there prescribed in the syllabus for a student, there is a huge gap. I think that gap needs to be covered drastically. Kids are smart enough, they adopt, but that gap still remains. How about the kids who cannot adopt?
True. And
And whatever needs for the present day practical necessity that needs to be emphasized during the education, sir.
ma'am, what about the huge poverty at one end and quite a few people very rich at the upper end who just don't bother, couldn't care less about environment?
So, like sustainable development goals that are there, each goal is for a particular reason. Our goal number one is to attack poverty. That could be attacked if we are tapping that in the right way. As in, first of all, there is no equality. We need to bring that equality. People who are rich, it's not that they don't want to share. The right way of sharing is not coming into picture.
Yeah,
I think
because
if that becomes a fashion or it becomes like a celebrity is doing that in competition with that celebrity, 10 other celebrities or rich people will come forward to do it.
yeah. Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. And before we leave, I request you to watch our detox from our disruptive literacy movement by Global Dream, which has been an initiative by Dr. Sunita Gandhi since 2014. Basically, this is to ensure everyone's participation by a people's movement in helping India achieve total foundational literacy and numeracy. Basically, each one teach one, and those of us who can teach more than one should be doing so. We have several talks on this every day, and for the talks that you would like to tune into, please go to 740-840-1000. So good evening, everybody. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening
Thank
and
you, sir.
goodbye. See you again tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.